Women in Leadership and Innovation. In this episode of Cyprus Diaspora Uncovered, leading women from the Cypriot diaspora and the local community explore how they are transforming business, entrepreneurship, artificial intelligence and other industries through visionary leadership and innovation. The panel shares insights into breaking barriers in traditionally male-dominated sectors, fostering inclusive leadership and harnessing emerging technologies to drive sustainable growth, innovation and global competitiveness. This panel discussion was recorded live at the Cyprus Diaspora Forum on May 7th, 2026 at the AMARA Hotel in Limassol, Cyprus.
Good afternoon, everyone. Thank you so much for joining our panel today. We'll be discussing women in leadership and innovation. And just as a brief introduction of our topic and then of our beautiful ladies, all of them accomplished and experts in their respective fields, I just wanted to highlight that the discussion today is going to be about leadership. From the perspective of a woman, but there's no woman who is leading an organization that's without men. So it's not a gender equality discussion. I think our Commissioner, Josie Christodoulou, does an excellent job dealing with that. But today we're welcoming here 5 ladies who are striding waves. They're making an exceptional difference. They're making a difference in their line of work through their way of life and through the way that they lead. So without further ado, allow me to first introduce our amazing women. So first of all, to my left, I have Vaso Vardaki, who's the founder of Blue Walnut Consulting. Vaso has 2 decades of experience in corporate leadership, including leading high-performing national sales teams in multinational companies. She has a BSc in Speech and Language Therapy, an MSc in Human Communication Science, an MBA, and a PCC accredited by the International Coaching Federation. And she's a senior practitioner accredited by EMCC, works with CEOs, general managers, directors, and leadership teams, including executive and team coaching with data-driven diagnostics. Welcome, Vaso. Excellent. And then we have Christiana, Genie. I was going to ask you about your surname because it's a very interesting one. Okay. You've created it. Yes, bravo, Vaso, excellent. I think you should be using that. So Christiana is a behavior specialist. She is a parenting strategist, which is very interesting, and we'll hear more about that a bit later on. An international speaker and founder of the Inner Growth Academy, a vice president of the BPW. Since 2008, she has supported thousands of parents and delivered corporate training of emotional intelligence, mindset, and conscious leadership. She's certified in structural coaching, mindfulness, Reiki, and happiness coaching, and she's an accredited senior coach with EMCC as well. Yeah,
it's a great pleasure to be here. Thank you.
Excellent. And then we have Olina Sokratos. Olina is a strategist specializing in business growth and privacy law, has helped multiple organizations with double profits in a year, with receiving 2 outstanding growth awards, which are always very, very important in making sure that what we say actually delivers. She designs privacy strategies for multi-million-dollar organizations and global tech talent. She is the founder of Business is Female, a consultancy and community for female entrepreneurs, and she's a member of the Committee on Foreign Affairs of the Youth Parliament of Cyprus. Welcome, Olina.
Thank you very much. It is a great pleasure to be among these very high-achieving women and you. Thank you.
And then we have Kelly Christodoulou. Hi, Kelly Mo. Just as a way of a cute background, we've managed to speak with everyone in the past preparing for this panel, but we haven't actually had the chance to meet each one in person. So I'm very happy, and especially Kelly, we haven't met before. So I'm very happy to meet you in person, Kelly. So Kelly is an award-winning sustainability and ESG expert with over 25 years experience across financial services, investment management and climate strategy in Australia, the UK, Singapore, and Cyprus. She's a former ESG and stewardship manager at Australian Super, where she oversaw $200 billion worth of portfolio. She is the CEO and co-founder of TideMRV, an agentic-powered blue carbon digital platform. And she's the founding advisor of Global Advisory Alliance, a TEDx speaker, and a former NED of the Institutional Investors Groups on climate change. Welcome, Kelly.
Thank you very much. It's great to be here and to meet you all, and again to be in front of you as well. Thank you.
And last but definitely not least, we have a representative of our University of Cyprus. Actually, we have Tatiana Eleni Synodinou, who's the Vice Rector for Academic Affairs at the University of Cyprus and a professor of law. It's different when lawyers speak to lawyers. Okay, we have a different kind of understanding, but we need also the other professionals to balance us out. But getting to know Tatiana for the purposes of our panel today was an amazing experience, I have to say. Tatiana is an academic coordinator of the Jean Monnet Center of Excellence for 2023-2026. She's the founding president of the Cyprus Union of Copyright Law, a chair of the UCY Research, Innovation, AI, Equality, and Undergraduate Studies Committees, a board member of IDEC, CCRI, Python, and the Council of the Cyprus School for Judicial Training. So Tatiana is quite responsible for all those law graduates and all of the graduates of the University of Cyprus. And it's such a pleasure and honor to have you here.
Thank you very much. It's a real pleasure to be here with you.
Excellent. Okay, so we will be moving on to a few of the questions, but I just wanted to, start our conversation by saying that, we are witnessing a shift in the way leadership is formed nowadays. And I think that's mostly because of the free access, the fact that everyone now has an unrestricted access to expression that probably wasn't the case in the past. So from young teenagers to old people, every person, mature persons, they have access to platforms that allow them to express their thoughts, their emotions, and that that's causing sometimes an imbalance, which is all the more necessary to understand and appreciate what it actually means to be a leader and what leadership is all about. I think in the past, we've had a few examples of leadership being equated with male dominance. So a lot of the high C-level positions rather were dominated by men. We've witnessed the efforts and the struggles of women to earn the right to be present in the C-suite, to be acknowledged of the fact that they can actually perform equally and with even possibly more success. But what we are going to be focusing on today is what is it like to be a leader and to be a woman, and what are the challenges? And another important thing that we will be discussing, and especially with Kelly, I have a lovely question for her later on, is what's the position with innovation and sustainability and investment? Because these are terms that have traditionally been male-dominated, and now we're seeing not only the fact that there's women at the helm educating people, but there's people that probably don't even understand a lot of these terms, and we have the added challenge of educating, explaining, and breaking barriers. So, if you will allow me, I will start with a question as follows. Beyond the well-known glass ceiling, what is the most underestimated barrier women still face when stepping into senior leadership in 2026, and how do you think how do they navigate that? And I'm going to ask Christiana to give us her view on this.
I love this question. I have worked with women for over 16 years. And as my role in parenting, as a parenting strategist, I have seen a lot of powerful women, successful women, facing these barriers that are mostly within us. So one of the barriers that we have, it's our mind, it's our self-image, it's how we perceive ourselves within our environment. I think that's one of the main things that we have to focus on. It's not the opportunities that we're given. It's how we see ourselves in the opportunities that we're given. For example, I saw a lot of women climbing up the stair, like getting there and being very successful. And in the end, something calls, family related, kids related. Some of them even their husband had to travel or had to change position. And the first one who's going to change direction is the woman.
It's the woman.
So I think that one of the things that we have to pay a lot of attention is not the outside, it's mostly the inside. Because that's the glass ceiling. That's our main,
limitation.
Yeah.
Would you say, is that a male-dominated conversation next door? What is happening? Ποιος είναι που μιλά? Δεν μπορούμε να μιλήσουμε εμείς. Now I'm going to complain. So, I was going to ask, is the glass ceiling within us? Is that limitation something inner that can be, that can be cured or that can be improved?
I love it. It's mostly within us because, when I had the chance to work with a lot of women in the CEO level and in the C-level, and what I see is that they are still the mothers the society is requiring. Or even if they don't have children, they're still the good girl. So sometimes they will work more and they will demand less, the position, the money. And also they will manage the house as well, so they don't have the time or the energy to move forward with their career. So I think most of the work that we have to do is within us, in the mindset.
Taking on board the fact that we are dealing with situations where we have to exceed either personal limitations that come up from external factors or the fact that, there are actual limitations. I would like to ask, Vaso, when you coach C-level professionals across industries, what is it like inside that room? And do you see meaningful differences in how men and women approach leadership at that level?
Now, I've coached leaders in almost 78 different industries. Let me tell you something. They all come and they tell me, my industry is different. And their industry, it is different. Their industry is different. But leadership challenges are similar in every different industry. And I get to see that because I get to coach all of them from different industries. And I get to see that leadership challenges are similar. So now, both men and women, they face similar challenges at the C-level. And let me tell you something here. They face challenges, CEOs are still humans, believe it or not. They face challenges like self-doubt. They face challenges like having to take difficult decisions. They face challenges like the lack of feedback they get, because the more you climb up, the less quality feedback you get. And they don't have a manager. They don't have a manager to actually reflect on their thinking. They don't have a manager to actually clarify their thinking and create some clarity. Now, what is the difference I see men and women in that level? Because women, they still get to be the mother, the sister, the person that will take care, the family, the parents. So that is the main difference. But what I see is that women that they get at this level, they no longer hold themselves back. Now, globally, we know that out of 100 CEOs, only 10 are women. So those 10, they don't hold themselves back. They know and they learn through the time what they need to learn. And what they need to learn is that you cannot have it all at all times. You can have it all sometimes. You can have something all of the times, but you cannot have it all all the times. You need to choose your battles.
Yeah.
And this is something they learn.
Okay, and on that then, I want to talk about the 90% that hold themselves back. What do you think, what is it? What do you see that it's holding them back?
Number one is the feeling and the expectation. You know what? The majority here is women, and I'm very glad that we have some men as well to hear that. We hold a badge in our... we hold a badge. The multitasking, multidimensional human being. As a woman.
The super person.
The super person. We hold that badge. Now, and we are proud of that badge. And we should be proud of that badge. But being proud of that badge make us actually want to prove ourselves having that badge. So we are self-fulfilling prophecy, the badge that of multitasking, multidimensional human being. One thing is to choose your battles. Yeah. Choose where to focus. Men have these advantages. They choose their battles and they focus on their battles. Number one. And number two, and I'm wrapping up, number two is women usually, because they feel like they will be judged, they want to be 100% sure before they take the next step. Mm-hmm. Now, you don't have to be 100% ready to take the step. Be 80% ready. The other 20% is the things that you cannot control and the things that you will adjust in the future. So be 80%, not 100% ready. That is another thing.
I actually agree with that very much. I think I faced this issue with my dad. My dad he's a perfectionist, and had ingrained in me that you need to be 100% perfect, sure, and ready before you do anything. If I had listened to him, I would have been miserable. But that's why we learn and we grow. But I want to take a conversation now to another place altogether, because we're now discussing about leadership in C-suites. Olina, how does leadership manifest itself or show itself when you are in Côte d'Ivoire or in Zimbabwe and you're supporting women who are farmers and you want to teach them, the basics so that they can survive? Please share your experience, because this is amazing.
Sure. Thank you for this question. So there is no one-size-fits-all solution, and each country has its own restrictions when it comes to leadership for women. So, for example, in some countries like Africa, the problem might be the access to the funds. And in some other countries, might be access to the system and the structure in general. Mm-hmm. So, for example, if a woman does not have an identity card, it's like she does not exist in the system. So the challenge is different depending on the country. But when we empower women, not only it is life-changing for some people in certain countries, but also we're empowering the businesses statistically, because when diversity exists in businesses, they are more profitable. And yes, we heal the whole world.
So in these different contexts, where have you seen the biggest gaps in opportunity for women, and what approaches have actually been made, what approaches made the most measurable difference in the context that you're now describing? Because, okay, Africa might sound like a very far away place from us, but the economies and the economies of scale of civilizations like that, the countries like that, they are very, very they're very definitive of how our economies are going to evolve in the future also. And I know that a lot of my clients who are in the fintech business, they work with and rely heavily in the African economies exactly because they have these peculiarities. So what approaches do you think made the most difference in women in that context?
In each country, we face the barrier women had. So, for example, in Côte d'Ivoire, it was the access to funding. So we hosted a charity marathon in the UK and provided the funds to 21,000 women there. Okay. And this is what made the difference, because that was the specific problem. So in each country, we challenged the specific barrier in order to make an impact for the specific woman. For example, in Johannesburg, the funding was provided in order to provide training. So the gap there was education.
Excellent. And I love this point because it's going to take me to Tatiana and education because, education and academic training has a lot to say in how any person, but now we're talking about women, any person is equipped to handle challenges, to navigate transactions, and ultimately lead to leadership. Because, unless you're, of course, in alone and you're only having to deal with yourself, if you're as part of a community, then leadership is a skill that you need to have across all disciplines. So moving on to my dear Tatiana, I want to ask you, how can a university embed equality and inclusion into the student experience itself so that students graduate not only as professionals, but as people who are genuinely equity and inclusion conscious?
This is a very good question. And of course, this is one of the aims of the university because equality and inclusion is necessary for excellence, according to my opinion. And I will say that the university should do it in many ways. First of all, it should support and promote a culture of inclusion and equality through different mechanisms. And these mechanisms shall be institutional, they shall be transparent mechanisms, and at the same time, it's very important to embed these principles in the curriculum, in the curriculums, in the programs of study. I will say also that also the informal and hidden curriculum also is very important because the way the university behaves, the way the university deals with complaints of students, transparent procedures, equal and accessible educational materials. This is also a way to promote this culture. And this can be done in various ways. Of course, it requires resources. It requires a continuous commitment and a clear institutional policy to go for it.
Okay. And moving from education, which is crucial in training and empowering graduates, among them women, we know that some of them are going to, move on and they're going to become very, very rich, probably through investing or, other ways, probably not investing in crypto. I wouldn't advise that. But, you know that these people are going to go out in the market at some point. And, okay, I'm not sure, Kelly, who you're advising and if they have a lot of, if they have lots of money, the people that you're advising, but I'm assuming they do. I want you to please share with us your experience, because sustainability, which is something that we learn now as part of the university curriculum, I would say as part of every training, it's, in line with the EU's 2030 green goals, which we're never going to meet, but at least we're striving towards. So sustainability is no longer a niche topic, but for many investors, it still feels abstract or risky. When you, Kelly, when you sit across from investors and need to make the case for putting capital into sustainability and innovation, what does leadership look like in that moment?
Okay, thank you. So from my perspective, all investors, or the majority of investors, except for crypto investors, majority of investors want to maximize their risk-adjusted returns. So what that means is they want the highest returns for the lowest risks. That's what investors want. So sustainability issues, and we break that down into environmental and social issues, they can have a material impact to company valuation. But it has to be the material factors of E and S to that specific company. So as an investor, that is what I did. And we always talk about making it material to the company.
To them. Okay, so what moves skepticism to commitment? And of course, I'm talking about blue investment in, blue, oh my God, Yeah, blue carbon and blue capital. Because I was actually having a whole presentation that no one near the level of your expertise, but approaching it from a legal perspective. And I know that the moment investors start listening, investors who are not Blackstone or Morgan Stanley, not at that level, the moment they start hearing colors, blue, green, red, which is my favorite, they, maybe they take a step back. How to get them to move from skepticism to actual commitment to the capital they'll be investing?
Yeah, so I would always put it back to risks. Yeah, so if you're a company or if you're an investor, you want to know everything about that company. You do not want to lose your money or other people's money that you're managing. And this is where the leaders and investors, that kind of long-term patient capital, they're the smart ones. And they identify what environmental risk or social risk that they think you have in the company. If I was a business owner, I would be clicked on now to say, okay, these are the environmental risks that can have a material impact to my business strategy or my business as usual activities, understand them, have a mitigation strategy in place, and then communicate to investors, because that shows to investors that this company's management knows what they're doing and I can trust them with my money.
Mm-hmm. And the fact that you're pitching them as a woman, has ever that made a difference? Have you ever experienced?
So it's interesting. So I'm only recently back in Cyprus in 2018. I worked in Singapore, Australia, and London. Working in Asia Pacific, they don't really see gender. It's really funny because they have companies that they set up often from the grandfather, and they will build it for their grandchildren, male or female. It's a different long-term patient mindset to what is perhaps in London, which is shorter, and Cyprus shorter here. So the cultural difference in their thinking of gender, it's fascinating to watch. So, but in when I was working in Melbourne in financial services, it's really interesting. Coming up from sustainability, you'll see a lot of the women come up in sustainable investing. Mm-hmm. They're more than the men. And I think it's because, so I started sustainable investing or ESG investing back in 2008. And my CEO at the time said to me, he goes, Kelly, I'm going to speak Australian. He goes, Kelly, this is just bullshit. It will never take on. You're wasting your time. And I'm like, Mr. CIO, just give me a chance. And now it's massive, right? So, and it's interesting. Women, we can see longer term. It's just, and we're longer term thinkers, I think. So that's been my experience.
It's a lovely, you see, I told you this was going to happen. It's a lovely pass that you're giving me, because Christiana loves talking about, what it's like to be a woman in this position. I think she's of our group, probably the more sensitive one, I would say, to what it's like to be a woman. I think Vasa is the fairest. Olina is still very, very, up for it. Tatiana is the more structured one. I'm the more insensitive one. And now, Kelly, I understand that you're also very, in favor, and you do understand the fact that women lead differently and they have the ability to see opportunity where men, I would say, don't. But Christiana, I want to hear from you after 16 years of working with women on mindset and behavior. I imagine there are certain images or moments that you carry with you, ones that capture exactly why this work matters. Now, can you please share with us one of your experiences and what it has taught you?
Yes. Well, I think I'm the more sensitive because I have seen the broken side of women during these years in order to get there, probably like the 90% that you're talking about. Yeah. Mm-hmm. It's, the way to shift the paradigm and let go of what's given to you from years back is not something that my mother gave me, something the whole culture is giving me. So, I remember this lady, I was very impressed with her. Okay. So when she contacted me, and we started coaching, I was like very impressed of her achievements and stuff. And she was in a mess, like her mind was totally scattered. And she said, you know what? I have 2 kids and I have been given this position now that I have to travel a lot. But my husband also has a high position. So we will not have anybody taking care of the kids.
children.
So she was actually crying because she worked very hard to get there. So it's the actual circumstances were affecting her, but also it's the place that we have that if the mother is away, she's a bad mother. Okay? I'm focusing mostly on the mothers because I think that the constraints are more, and the inner constraints and the outer constraints. So with your question, I want to take the opportunity to give a guide on how to get there.
Please.
If you're in the 90%. Yes. Because we cannot do this only with mind shifting, like changing how we see ourselves. We also need systems.
Yeah.
We need to use the people around us in a good way. Like, for example, something I also experienced. I got divorced when my children were 7 months old and 2 years old. So in a way, I raised them by myself, and my main help was my mom, is my mom. At some point, I felt very much like I'm using my mom. So I started feeling a lot of guilt, something that I see with a lot of women using the people around them, okay, like asking for help. So one thing that I had to overcome was to actually, let go of this guilt and ask my mom to help me without feeling bad. So I had a conversation with her and I said, look, Mom, I have these dreams, but I need your help to do it. But in this process, I want to know that if you cannot help me at a specific moment, you will tell me. You will not let me think that you might have something else and you don't have the time. You will tell me straightforward. And if you tell me you cannot, I might cancel, I might find somebody else. But I want to be sure that when you say yes, that's a yes.
Yeah. There's a commitment there and you can depend on it because you need to step onto something to be able to perform, right?
I cannot, sorry, but I cannot say that we can do this alone. And we need men as well to support this procedure in the workspace and at home. It's a huge responsibility to take everything on your shoulders. So we need the systems. And this is what I wanted to focus on, because if I'm trying to do everything by myself and I'm doing therapy and I'm doing coaching and I'm doing everything that I need, but I'm not using the people around me even to pay for them, sometimes if you don't have somebody, you pay and you have somebody. Because I remember when I got the divorce and I was with the babies, the only thing I didn't cut back was the cleaner. Like, I had a huge shortage of money and I was like, I will never cut the cleaner. I could never imagine myself ironing for 3 hours. Like, I was in 3 hours, I can do this and this and this and this and that for my business. I can be with my kids, So I never cut the cleaner. It's been like 10 years to iron,
It sounds like you're still feeling guilty about it.
Sorry?
It sounds that you're still feeling guilty about it. And please stop.
About what? About the
still
cleaner?
keeping the cleaner. I think it's the least that you did for yourself. And well done for keeping the damn cleaner, because we need them. Guys, honestly, does anyone understand what it's like to, either start from a certain point and reach higher up, or even if you don't have that ambition and you just want to make ends meet and you need to be good at your work. Does everybody understand what it's like to have to wake up in the morning, wash clothes, clean the house, somebody cooks? I do not do any of these things in order to be able to do this. I've got my team over there from work and they know, what it's like to be me. No guilt whatsoever. And I really hope that women understand that if you make a decision, if you make a commitment, it could be to yourself, it could be to your children. The reason why you're doing something is irrelevant. But once you make that decision, then yes, leadership means finding the systems, finding the support systems and supporting them. If it means working harder because you need to pay someone externally, you do that. But you do what you need to do.
There is no guilt whatsoever
in
this decision, because it was the only way to get where I am today. If I didn't have the help and the support, I would never be here.
Yeah. you.
Just to add on that, because I like what Christiana is saying. Earlier, when I talked about the 10% that they get there and choosing their battles, this is exactly what they are doing. They outsource, they create systems, they build around them the systems and the support. They don't feel guilty because they cannot bake the cookies for the children's, ceremony, but they choose what is important for them. And this is very important. Yeah.
There were times for me that I would even cook, and still, for some people that wasn't enough. Doing everything for the wrong people, doing everything is never going to be enough. That's why it's important, I think, that everything starts from within. And at this point, I want to hear from Olina, because, I had a question here that I don't know if I'm going to ask this or not, but I know that you're involved at a political level, at the young person's parliament. Okay. So what Christiana, Vaso, Kelly, Tatiana, myself, what we're talking about is finding the ways to support ourselves while we go after things that matter. Do you see that our current political system supports women in that? And how can we improve it? We've got elections in a few days. I'm going to ask you later on about whether all these people are, aiming at improving anything. But please, what is your view, Elina?
In my experience, I see the private business sector helping more because the market is shifting. And we can see that there are some new solutions that were non-existent before. Like, for example, at our meetings, women who are mothers are encouraged to bring their children in our meetings. And it is fascinating because we can see the children being involved as well.
Amazing.
Yes. But in terms of a political level, I think they're doing a good work because I had the opportunity to talk with Mrs. Josie 101 2 weeks ago. Mm-hmm. And we were discussing about how many things were done. It is not long that Cyprus, it is an independent country. And in the same decade that Cyprus became independent and an independent nation, Switzerland already had paternity and maternity leave. And we were not even a nation. So there were a lot of things that were done in the last years. But of course, we have a long way to go, especially bearing in mind the statistics in December 2025, with Cyprus being the last in Europe ranked when it comes to gender equality. So yes, there has been a lot of work that is done.
But it's okay. On this point, I want to highlight something. Recently, guys, there was this Cyprus Economic Forum. I think it's organized by IMH in Nicosia. And our president, Nikos Christodoulou, was invited. And look, anyone may have whatever, personal view they might have about the president. This is not a political positioning or statement whatsoever. I have a deep respect for elected governments, no matter what, no matter if I voted them or not. But at this forum, I really, really liked the fact that when he was invited to talk, I think the discussion was something about leadership. And he commented on the fact that the panel was filled with men. That forum, every time that forum is organized, and I've been invited on many occasions, I didn't make it, you can see how on all key conversations, the positions and the chairs are filled by men. And most of the times, men that have been, that are speaking always in all events, and they're probably just copying and pasting their speeches and just repeating them. So no, and I was very happy to see that our president actually made, a small comment saying there should have been more women, or there should have been more chairs here for women. And I really like that. It is a good, I'm not going to say starting point because we're far away from the start, but I'm hoping we see more initiatives like that. And I think women who are in positions of influence, leadership, and power, they should keep in mind, in my view at least, to promote the platform that they're given to allow more women to take positions.
I know very well the part of the conversation that you're referring about with the president.
I'm going to repost it later on. Just watch out for it.
Yes. And it is amazing to have people who are noticing this situation and having a whole team addressing specific situations. So it is always great to have the support of the president, who has his own daughters as well, and he's very well aware of the situation in Cyprus.
Yes.
And have teams addressing certain topics.
That's good to know. You wanted to add something?
It's a great moment that you're sharing that, because I want to take a moment, and if only you could see what we could see from here.
Oh, I'm gonna
Turn around and check the audience.
Can you ask them to clap afterwards? Because I
No.
want
later.
I'm gonna ask everybody to clap because I want to make
turn
noise.
around. Turn your heads around and check the audience, and give a round of applause to the two men that they are here today. Huh?
I am Andrea.
3. Oh, we have a third. 4. Oh my God. 5. Yes. So my point. What's my point?
Yes.
Yeah. My point is that we are talking about women in leadership, and 95% of the room is filled with women. So we need men to be on board if we want to increase women in leadership. That's my intervention here now. Yeah.
Like, we need to get them involved ourselves. Like, 1 second, I went to an event once. I was invited to watch the speakers. And there were 9 men and 1 woman, and she was also dressed as a man. Okay. So when it finished, he asked me, no, I'm not, she was
overly masculine. It was
overly masculine. Not judging the appearance.
Yeah.
Okay. But I'm just saying it because when he finished, he came and he said, what did you think about the event? And I said, you had only 1 woman.
Yeah.
Only 1. So this goes on. We collaborated after years. And now every time he tells me, do you see the flow now? We have half women and half men. From 1 comment I made.
Yeah.
So we should never silence ourselves, because 1 comment that you might make might change everything.
I agree, fully agree. And I want to hear Tatiana also, please, on this point. Bravo.
This is a very critical point, and I will say that we will need more women also in the governments, also in the parliament, not only in the panels. But panels also is the first start. At the university, we have also some good practices, I will say. We have the quality committee of the university that issued guidelines to all academics to avoid panels, because this is something that we would like not to be attached to the image of the university. At the same time, we have also rules and which are voted by the Senate in order to make equal the participation of men and women in promotion and selection committees.
Yeah.
So this is something, a culture that is going on, and it needs strength in order to enforce this culture, because there are really people who resist.
Yeah.
Even with these principles that I mentioned, we often receive emails by professors saying, but it's not possible to have equal participation between men and women. Why? Because in our domain of expertise is the men who are the more established experts. But this is a rule which was voted by the Senate, and they need to copy with it. It takes time. We have a lot of resistance, but I think that all this add up. And at the end, we will have some meaningful results, and especially as regards students and young people who need to understand that equality, inclusivity is not only a moral principle, but it's a way of living. Mm-hmm. It's not something abstract. It's not a policy. It's a way of living, and that they have also to encounter the university intellectually, professionally later when they go to trainship, but also socially as a place where equality and inclusivity are practiced. Mm-hmm. But this is something really difficult.
It is an ongoing process. Oh, I want to. You guys know Heatwave Festival? Did you know about it? This beautiful lady there. I'm not gonna, put you on the spot, but Did you organize it all by yourself? Mm-hmm. Okay, so this young lady, because we were talking about, how leadership, what it's like, how to promote it. I don't know if anybody, asked you, gave you permission, or what kind of help you had. But I know, because I participated last year, I couldn't this year. She managed to bring, I don't know how many, heavyweight male trainers from all over the world, gathered them in Limassol. I've worked with the municipality of Limassol, at least before its new composition. It wasn't the most easy thing to do. I still have traumas. And you've managed to, gather everybody there and have an amazing event, and especially at a sector which was traditionally, I would say, male-dominated, okay? And you see these women trainers smashing it, not only the quality of the training that they promote, but, the values, the fact that they're putting themselves out there, they're making a lot of money, through their online training, and in a good and a positive example. I would say Konstantina Christofi. So Konstantina is a good example of a young leader who I don't know the circumstances of how you created Heatwave, but I think we should have more examples like that. I think we should have more examples where women feel that the gates are open, and the challenges and the struggles are putting things together in order to create something, not breaking barriers or having, 5 old age, narrow-minded men. It shows that I've had a bad, experience. I did. There were many, many times I was the only woman in the room. I was looked at, even I told you on Monday, I had a business meeting. I'm a lawyer. I've earned awards. I've done so many things in my life so far. Mostly, I'm proud of my 2 kids that I'm, try to raise a couple of twins on your own. And then you have this other person telling you you're not advising your client properly, for example, because he's an older man and I'm, the only woman in the room. We have that a lot. And I think this is something that we actively, and all of the sectors need to work together. Education at tertiary level, like Tatiana is saying, the parliament. And I want to go back to investors, because I want to hear more, Kelly, about your experience with, because everyone, I'll tell you why I labor on. Everyone is now using the ability to earn money quickly, in a way that, is getting a lot of attention, right? And you see, the social media are being flooded by men who are actually probably just the trainers. They're not investment advisors, but they're suddenly, did you guys watch, what's it called? Man Cave? Manosphere. Yeah, if anyone watched Manosphere, I think you know what I'm talking about. We're facing something very peculiar, I would say, because you have these people who have very strange ideas, dominating the algorithm and what our kids are watching, and then they're suddenly influencing the way that we invest. Your comment, Kelly.
So I think why that happens is because there's not financial literacy at school.
Okay.
So we know, all of us, we all want to earn money, but we don't know how to. So if there's no financial literacy taught at school, then where do they turn? Social media, of course. And I think for women, having financial literacy is so important, because when this does not happen, what happens to women in particular is that women end up poverty in old age. So just a quick stat, if you're a woman over the age of 65 and you're living in Cyprus now, your pension is 29% lower than men. So let me just say that again. If you're a woman,
yes,
over the age of 65 now in Cyprus, your pension is almost a third less than men. And there's reasons for this. Women we take time off work when we have children. Women will work part-time. All our money goes into our family. And that, unfortunately, leads to poverty in old age. And I think if we could have financial literacy in high school from, juniors, or, from year 8 or first year high school and just taught throughout. And that would really make a difference.
I think the Cyprus Securities and Exchange Commission is actually running a campaign and they're going from school to school educating teenagers on financials. Tatiana, you want to add something?
We have also introduced financial literacy for all students at the university, and it's optional to all. It's something that the university promotes also at the government level, and we're looking forward because this is something very important. These issues were not open to women and even at home sometimes. So it's very important that I totally agree that this is a key point.
You've mentioned that, taking time off. Guys, by the way, it is, I don't know how many of you have children or want to have children or, maybe they hate the idea, but it is so miserable, the fact that women having to have taken time off to give birth, to create families, are actually penalized for it. Okay, and I'm hoping that the conversation changes, but not just the practice changes. And I want to hear from Vas on this because I have a lovely question that I want to make sure I say it right. Vaso, in your career, have you seen how a single leadership decision can ripple through an organization in ways that no policy or memo ever could? Is there a moment that stays with you where a leader chose the harder, more human path, and you watched it? And what effect did it have to the people around them?
Okay. Can I share a story with you?
Please.
Can I share a story with you? Now, it really stayed with me, that story, and I would really like you to hear it. It's been a couple of years. I'm coaching a senior leader, a woman senior leader, very capable, woman senior leader. She was in the HR department, and she was in the transition of getting an CHRO role in a multinational company. During that period, she gets pregnant. Now, the hiring process takes, in those C-level roles, the hiring process might take months. Go back and forth, having discussions, having meetings, and all of this with this multinational company. By the way, this multinational company was going through a transition after a big restructuring, and they had huge problems with the culture. Now, people were demotivated, low trust, hard decisions, and the environment was not very nice in the company. Now, during that period, my client, she's getting pregnant. And they still hire her. So day one, she starts working, and she goes there, and she's 6 months pregnant. Like in 2 months, 3 months, she was going on a maternity leave, but they still hire her. They took the hard decision. Now, we're talking and we're discussing how is the new beginning, how is everything, blah, blah, blah. And then I get to speak with some of the employees of that organization. You know what? The majority, all of them, not the majority, all of them told me one single thing. The moment we saw her coming in the office that day, we felt hope for the organization. We felt like something can really happen here because the management took that decision to hire a pregnant woman in that position, and that showed hope to people. And hope was not enough to change the culture, but it was the beginning of it. Yeah. It opens a slightly window to that. And they are doing actually very well. She's in the maternity leave now. She's going back, and they are doing actually very well in changing the culture of the organization. So, yeah.
Excellent. I have a question, and then, guys, we are very close to wrapping up, and the time passed very quickly, but just letting you know that I'm going to allow for a couple of questions. So please think of things that you want to ask so that we, make use of our time here and we actually get to know each other. But I have a question for Alina, because I think from all of us, you're still probably the youngest, or at least not in the, how do you approach the issue of motherhood as a woman who's already set in, in creating things, and you're already a woman leader. So what are your views? How do you approach the subject?
So I find motherhood to be like a gift, to be the creator of, I find motherhood to be a gift, to be able to be the creator of life. That is something very important. And usually it is one of the most important things in the life of a woman, one of her most important ventures, like we call it with my clients. So it is something sacred for me. And it is something that we can, incorporate in our business reality as well, with teamwork, women helping other women and men helping women as well. Because it is mutually beneficial again. And I wanted to mention that because there are certain characteristics that are female and male, but when we're putting people in boxes and we're putting women in boxes, men are into other boxes as well. And this is not beneficial for men as well, because we can see some statistics and we can see, for example, that suicide is much higher in men because they have all this burden on their shoulders and being the breadwinner and all this pressure. So we're putting both genders in boxes when we do this.
Yeah. Bravo, Etsy, live. We're also very loud here. So guys, no, we could have this conversation going on for a long time, but I want to hear from the audience. I want to hear, oh, yes, of course. Is it going to be, yeah, it's going to be me sharing the things, but it's okay because I like to move around. I do. I'll hand this over, and then if you can please pass it on to the next one and help me.
Hi, I'm Nicola. I started a business a few years ago, so similar to you guys, founder, female. I'm just curious how you deal with men within business development, for instance, going to networking events, which are very male dominated, particularly in Cyprus, and how developing partnerships with companies dominated by men. What's your experience and how you kind of deal with that?
Do you want to choose who's going to answer it, or are you going to leave that difficult task to me? Okay, I want to hear from Vaz on this because I know that she's been working with, especially business development and men. And then, of course, please pitch in.
So, if I understand well, the question is how do we approach the business, the development when it comes to men, or is it something else? Yeah. Well, number one, stop apologizing to yourself. And I'm not talking to you, I'm talking in general. Stop apologizing. Stop feeling apologetic for different things. I mean, many times as women, we don't feel certain ourselves. So it starts from within. And I totally agree with what Christiana said, that it starts from within, how you position yourself. And not trying to look like men, not trying to show our masculine energy. Our feminine energy is totally fine. Balance that out. Go there with confidence and reach out. I mean, there's no secret, actually. It's human to human. There's no secret to that. It's just work on yourself. That's my advice.
Can I just add something? You're going to have issues. I mean, as long as we all realize, obviously, I have my own firm for so many years. I've, business developed I'm not going to say the word, off in order to get here. Okay, so I've been in conversations with like Middle East people who you would think might look at women differently. You will face difficulty. You might face bias. It's not fair, it's not nice, but it's the reality. So the way that you manage the situation, and I think that's why it's always worth working with someone. I've held up positions of influence for a lot of my career. I always had a coach. I had my coach next to me, helping me deal with things, not because I felt incapable of doing it myself, but because there's always, what's the better way of addressing it? So just realize that you're going to face that and move on.
And Stella, and another thing, go to the next one. You know what? Go to the next one. The next one, and the next one, and the next one. And at some point, someone will see what you have to offer, will see what you have to value. And some people will never change because they don't want to change. Go to the next one, you know?
But don't change the way you dress, for example. If you're dressing professionally and you have a meeting in a room full of men and you're thinking, I shouldn't wear a dress or I shouldn't wear something with cleavage, as long as you're professional in the way that you present yourself, no apologies, please.
Can I just add to all these wonderful things that I totally agree? Olina talked about the boxes. Okay, so if we put all of us in one box, then we are all human meeting each other. Some of them, we will not want to do business with them. It's not about them choosing us, because we women have this thing growing up that somebody has to choose us to get married, to hire us, to collaborate. It's us choosing as well. So if I talk with somebody that is not treating me right, is not talking to me with respect, I don't want to collaborate with them. So you have to choose the people that you're aligned with. And before, because I want to make this clarification, I said about that woman that was androgynous. Many of us wear suits here. It wasn't the suit.
Of course.
Like she had the short hair. She was very masculine. Okay. And in these years, I'm 100% sure that you can be a leader and being feminine. And it's fine. You can still be certain. You can still stand your ground and still ask for what you want. So we don't need to be tougher. We just have to stand our ground.
Olina, you wanted to add something?
Yes. I'd like to add something as well. I totally agree with everything that you said as well. And I agree that it is what people value. And sometimes they may not value an opinion or somebody because of gender, because this is how they're conditioned, etc. So we can try to communicate. And if this works, this is amazing. If not, we can, yes, go to the next one. But in terms of networking, some things that I found that they're working with my entrepreneurs and also with my mentors. One tip was to be friendly. And the other tip that I saw with my entrepreneurs is that when they have a ready-made offer, the entrepreneurs that have ready-made offers and the ones that don't, they have huge number difference when they are entering a networking event.
Second is like 100%.
Yes.
Bravo. No. Very good. Other questions? Okay. No, of course.
Some more comments.
No, please support. Okay, good. Thanks.
In my professional career in America, I've actually experienced women sidetrack me and men uplift me and put me in that leadership position.
Of course.
So there's times where I feel like, I wish men would give us more of a chance, but it has to start with us first. It has to start with women uplifting women and just praising them. And it was an example last night where I was talking to the actress Agne Scott.
Yes.
And I saw a woman that we're LinkedIn friends for a few years now, Maria, the founder of Cyprus Seeds. Mm-hmm. She's an incredibly inspiring woman. And I said, oh, Agni, wait, I see Maria. And she came. I said, I look up to you so much. Thank you for doing what you're doing and being such a profound woman in leadership. And I introduced Agni to Maria. I said, she's inspiring. I said, this is what we need. Mm-hmm. And to me, it was just a natural thing because I'm always trying to praise women. But we need more of that camaraderie with our own sisterhood.
We do, and I think it's the woman spider. I think there's this, type of woman that will never support other women. I think we've all faced that. Again, it's a lot of things will happen on your way towards achieving your goal, and it shouldn't keep us back. One funny comment. Sorry, what happened to me with Maria from Cyprus yesterday? I said, "Oh, hello." I greeted her thinking she was Paul's wife, Nikki. And I actually called her Nikki, so I did that. And she was looking at me, but she was very nice and didn't comment. I'm going to say sorry when I see her next today. Sorry, we had
It's just following on from that.
Yes.
You've already answered it. My question was going to be more direct. Do women help other women? Because in all the leadership forums that I go to in Australia and other countries, it comes up all the time. Women do not help other women, sadly. So I see today the younger women are a little bit different. But my generation, women that got to the top did not help other women. They thought, if I got to the top, they say they can go, and they used to get the masculine traits and behave like men. I'm glad to hear that, the feminine side and all of that today. So thank you.
Just a comment on that. Thank you for saying that out loud, because during history, the bigger enemies of feminism and women's rights, they were women, if you study history on that topic. So, yes, there is nothing more beautiful for women to support other women. And you know what? Leadership is all about feeling comfortable in the uncomfortable. Leadership is all about supporting people, growing other people, creating space for other people to grow. So we cannot talk about women in leadership and arguing with each other and stopping other women from growing. If we want to call ourselves leaders, we need to create a space for other women to grow.
Yeah. We have another question, I think. Sorry. Yeah. Stand up, because you are, I think, one of the most beautiful men in the room. He's also my team member, Alexandros. He's brilliant. And please.
Sure. Adequately portrayed. Very good question. Thank you for that. So we can see from the press, the magazines, the movies, everything, that women are presented in a certain way in media, usually putting them in a box. And we see this in Cyprus a lot. Because I remember when I came in Cyprus from the UK, I was living there for 6 years, and I came back. We had a very professional woman achieving a very high-ranked position in Cyprus. And what stood out to me was that the press was always commenting about her outfit, her trips, and not her work, which we do not see it very often with men in some countries. So yes, this is what I see, but I think that it is the overall cultural perception, and it is relative to the place we are. Because, for example, when we were saying about women not helping women as well, we see this happening with men in some other countries in the north. So it depends where we are. But what I was saying in a meeting recently is that we see that women were paving the way for us. We see lots of women doing things for the first time in Cyprus. For example, Anita Dimitriou as well, who's the first president. Yes, thanks. Yes. But I think when we have women paving the way before us, it is our duty to remain ourselves while walking the same journey.
Thank you for that. Andrea, so, okay. Which of? Yes. And then we have another question, and then we're going to wrap it up. I'm going to say a few things, and then there's food, I think. So hope you're hungry.
Hi. Thank you so much for this insightful discussion. I don't really have a question, though, but rather a suggestion, which could be a thought for food, probably. Probably for next year, the title of the whole discussion and panel should have been Leadership and Innovation instead of Women in Leadership and Innovation, because I believe that's the point where the box is created, and maybe that's why it didn't really target a lot of men. Instead, if it was Leadership and Innovation, probably it would have attracted equally men and women as well.
I hear that.
Thanks.
We really need to celebrate, though. We need to celebrate our gender, even though, like I said, this is not a gender equality discussion. But I have been celebrating agenda for the past year by doing my Women of Impact podcast. And one of the reasons why I did that is because there were no women being asked in podcasts. No, I don't know. I mean, I have this, I'm not going to call it a beef, but there's this podcast called Netcast. I've reached out to the organizer, Janos Tra. Listen, I said, Jano, where are the women you're talking about leadership. Where are the women? He hasn't invited me. Nothing. He's invited other people. I mean, clearly to invite someone, there's a reason.
You're absolutely right. And I'm coming back.
That was just, sorry, it was just one example, guys. So there was no platform, no opportunity given to women to express their experience, so to say their experience. So this year, and I fully agree with you, it could have been just leadership and innovation, Vaso, and Olina and Christiana, Kelly, Tatiana, we discussed it before, but I kind of like that this year, guys, we have the word women there, okay? And that it's an all-women platform, all-women panel this year. Maybe next year, it'll be different, but...
Yeah, just to add something to what you said, because I totally agree with podcasts and this kind of platforms. I'm coming back to what you said about the forum you have attended, because I know the organizers. I have attended a few events that they organized, and I noticed that they didn't really attract women speakers. And I personally submitted a complaint to them via email. They didn't reply, and I called them and asked straight away why you don't have women. And they replied to me that, women are shy. And I was like, okay, let me suggest a few that I know they're not really shy to come.
That's a good point. And there was another event called, I'm sorry, this is dragging on, we're going to wrap it up. There was an event, the Dragon Awards. Okay, so another important fact. There was a woman presenting in the Dragon Awards, guys, okay? And she was making a presentation for a very, very crucial and important provider of, something in Cyprus. She goes up to the stage. She messed it up royally. Okay? We are women and we are talking and we make mistakes. Everybody makes mistakes. She clearly had not prepared for the event. She had nothing to say, and there were clearly no public speaking skills whatsoever. Yet she was leading, a multi-million organization that's, I'm not going to say more because, the point isn't to attack the woman at all. It's just to say that, there are places for everyone. So if you have the skills, then take the stage. If you don't, use your expertise in a different manner. But yes, of course, situations like that are used by, ill-intended persons to say, but women are shy. They're not. But it's a good point, and it's good to, please.
Thank you, Andrea, for addressing that, because we need more people to be doing that and to be questioning things.
Yes.
And I agree with that. And I recently came across some statistics that were around 24% about women in Cyprus. And I questioned the specific percentage, and what they told me was that women did not apply. And that wasn't the truth. Because...
Bravo. I think I know. Yes.
Yes. So it is good to having people questioning that, and also people coming up front and say when there is a failure, because we need to know and track the numbers, all of us, in order to know the truth.
Yeah. Athinamo, last question, and then we're wrapping up, guys. 2 minutes.
I'm laughing because I had this lady, she was head of HR, and she was crying very easily. So when she came, she said, I have this problem, when I get very emotional, I cry. So everybody thinks that I'm soft, and they don't take me seriously because I'm crying all the time. And I was like, okay. So let's explain first what it means to cry. It's the attempt of your nervous system to balance out. So it means that you cannot handle the emotion at that time. And because your thoughts are making it worse, you're saying, oh my God, I cannot handle it. So I cry. And then you cry and then you feel guilt about crying. And I said, so every time you will thank yourself for crying because you're trying to balance shit out. It's like, don't push yourself. So she left, and 1 week after we had our next session, and she said, you know what? This week I didn't cry a lot. I said, what happened? I said, because I knew that it was because I was overwhelmed, not because I was weak. That's why I was crying. So somehow I found a way not to be very overwhelmed.
Yeah.
So you see what I mean? It's like they can say we are very, we are not more emotional. I have worked with kids from 4 years old and above. Okay. Boys are emotional as well. It's just that they learn to suppress it so much that if they want to cry, they won't. Okay. So we are more empathetic. We are vulnerable. And this is only a power. Because we had men as well coming for coaching that they split with their woman and they were in a very bad situation.
And they were crying as well.
And if the HR, they were crying as well. And if the HR was not a woman, she would never send him to do coaching, to handle that. If it was a man, it was just
good.
Get over it.
So, guys, thank you so much. We have to wrap it up. We're already 15 minutes past. Thank you, ladies. I have a kind request. Guys, if you want to keep this conversation going, please, any videos or anything, you just tag Cyprus Diaspora and our topic. And with your views, if you liked or hate us, everything goes. Just please, let's keep the conversation going, all right? So that next year we have a lot more people joining us. And thank you so much. You were an amazing audience.
Thank you for listening to Cyprus Diaspora Uncovered. Subscribe to our podcast on Spotify or Apple Podcasts for more inspiring conversations that are shaping Cyprus's global future. You can also explore more episodes on our website and selected video interviews on our YouTube channels.